Hello, everybody. Helen Chin Liu here, certified reflexologist, certified energy medicine practitioner, Reiki master teacher, the owner of the Healing Place and the Healing Place Energy School. I want to welcome you to this YouTube live chat. Feel free to ask me questions along the way. This is something that am passionate about is to educate people about their personal energy flow. And the more you understand what goes on in you, the more you will be able not to succumb to negativity, um, vicious, I would say, thoughts, negative thoughts that are unproductive. And if you're stuck in a cycle, this is going to help you to feel better. If you could give me a thumbs up or let me know that you could hear this, because last week it was the show from hell. Basically, I couldn't believe how many technical difficulties I had. And if you could be so kind to let me know that you could hear me, and feel free to jump in. One of the things I figure I would start with is talk about how negative energy gets stored in us. We think, unfortunately, the way most of us are raised, we believe that if we do not acknowledge our problems, they will go away. Unfortunately, these problems never do. In fact, more times than not, they stay stuck inside of us and they become trapped on a cellular level. And as I work with people, I've been doing healing work since 2006 and approximately about 13,000 sessions. And I notice everybody who comes have a particular energy pattern that once it becomes stuck, it manifests into an illness. So 75% of the people who come to see me have digestive issues, which is really odd. I think that's a huge percentage. And then the remaining 25% is a combination of chronic pain. And I mean overall pain. Some of that pain could be in the joints, or it can be the pain that's associated with autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, MS, restless leg syndrome. And there's a small percentage of people that come and look for help to balance hormones naturally. And one of the things that I've noticed is when energy gets trapped, it shows up, let's say, the people who have digestive issues. Once they start to develop a lot of fears, and a lot of it, more times than not, digestive people personality, they have the personality of a caregiver. So they're very loving people. They really want to help to the point they rescue. But unfortunately, let me pull up my paper because I have all of these notes. What happens a lot of times, what weakens the stomach is worry. So if you notice, if you are a big worrier per se, feel free to jump in with your question because I really want this to be interactive because this is what's going to make this fun for me and you. The more you learn about you, and don't be shy because if you're shy, just think of this way: somebody else wants to ask a question and they are too afraid to. So let me talk about these five different emotions. So anger weakens the liver. So if you think about somebody who have an alcohol problem, um, what blocks energy in the kidneys? So in the kidneys, fear. So fear weakens the kidneys. Everybody have fears. No one's exempt from, and nobody's exempt from stress, anxiety. But what you do with those emotions, more times than not, manifests eventually as a body dysfunction. And I mentioned that in my book, which is Know Your Chakra. I'll talk more about my book a little bit later. But so fear weakens the kidneys, stress weakens the heart and brain, worry weakens the stomach, grief weakens the lungs, and anger weakens the liver and the gallbladder. They don't write that there, but that's my personal experience working with these people. And if you notice your emotions, where do they go? Because as soon as you become stressed, where do you feel it in your body? That's something that I'm going to ask you to really be aware of, because a lot of times what we do as human beings, we override our emotions. We know something is bothering us and we think, and because this is the way many of us have been taught, well, if you pretend long enough, it goes away. Unfortunately, emotions never go away. So it becomes stacked inside of you until it has nowhere to go and it manifests into an illness or dissociation. I had this one person who asked me earlier, Helen, how come reflexology isn't permanent? Heals completely. And I want to say, listen, dude, tell me what is permanent. Really think about that. What have you done in your life that you just did one time and that's the end all? Well, first of all, your body, there's a whole bunch of things going on. As you age, your body deteriorates, just like a car. Wear and tear on the package deal eventually is going to eat away at you, no pun intended. That's one. Two, your body has a default program. Whatever the way you were raised, and maybe open enhanced growing up, that's pretty much your personality. Your personality. And that default, no matter what you think, is always going to run in the forefront of your brain, and most of the time in the back of your brain. You don't even know what you're thinking until it's too late. And notice how you respond to a situation. Is it the same response each and every time? And if you're in a stuck cycle where you're repeating the same old crap and you wonder why I can't catch a break, instead of blaming the situation, can you go inward to look at yourself? This is really key. This is how you break cycles, by recognizing where you are in this moment so you can do something about it instead of blaming somebody else or saying, if I only had fill in the blank. Well, if you're waiting to fill in the blank, what happens if the blank never shows up? Really? What if it never shows up? And then what do you do then? So, do you have any comments? Jump in, please. Don't be shy. I know you're out there. Don't be shy. So, another woman asked me, she feels like there's a rock in the back of her throat. She can't speak. So, as we've talked more about chakras and energy centers, think about what shuts down in your body when you're under a lot of stress. So, for example, a lot of women, especially if they grew up in a religious household, they have very little right to say anything, and they feel really uncomfortable about saying anything. So they don't say anything. So they pretend it doesn't exist, hoping and praying somebody will notice and address this. And what happens a lot of time, we start to look for permission from somebody else to live our lives. And what happens if no one comes and saves you? So if you're the rescuer in your family, think about all the things you do for others. As I mentioned to somebody, where where do you fit into your own life? Are you high on your list, or are you somewhere in the middle, or you're near the bottom, or worst of all, you don't even exist because you're so busy taking care of everybody else? These are really legitimate questions that I asked you to think about your stuckness, especially if you're not feeling well. Okay, here's a great example. I'm one of those, my weakness are my lungs. So I have, occasionally I have asthma attacks. I don't catch colds very often, but when I do, they're really a doozy. And hi Ruth, um, okay, let me finish this thought. When I have a cold, people say, well, I caught a cold, I touched the doorknob, I didn't wash my hands enough. Those are the physical excuses, what we tell why we caught a cold. We're in a room full of people, we're on the airplane, blah, 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 blah. So what I'm, as an energy worker, I ask myself, why have my lungs shut down? Because what happens is the energy, instead of flowing freely up and down, just like going through a tunnel, this becomes gridlock and energy stops. And I have a tendency to protect my heart energy, to be honest with you. And because the work I do is very intimate and I give a lot of myself, as you could tell, if I'm doing these types of sessions, I'm giving a lot of me. So by recognizing the why, what may be the cause of it, not talk about who to blame or what to blame, but really look in. And the more you understand your personal energy flow, you're going to be able to overcome a lot of these health issues. So, or prevent them, because we all have what I call defective DNA. And what activates them is usually stress, circumstances, and things that been eating away at us. Okay. Does that sound good? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Okay. Let me talk, Claudia. Let's start with Ruth, since she asked me, what is the effective hand, ear, or foot reflexology? Where can we see a full session and treatment? Okay. In Massachusetts, I should say in the USA, as of 2015, the foot reflexology protocol is 300 hours. That includes physiology, anatomy, practice sessions, 100 clinical sessions, and I had to write a thesis. My thesis was on, can reflexology help to reduce medication intake or eliminate? And I was blessed, I was able to find 10 people who were willing to participate in my clinical work. And 5 out of the 10 people had various form of arthritis. And I found absolutely nobody needed to be seen once a week for 10 weeks. Usually by the fourth or fifth session, most pain cycle breaks at that moment. And why? Because as I call it, I'm putting things back where it belongs. Okay, that's a good way of saying it. As I'm pressing on points, messages are going from the feet all the way to the brain. Hand reflexology, US protocols between 100 to 140 hours, comprising mostly of classroom practice, um, observations. Ears is less time, is about 50 hours in the US. I took all of those. And which one is more effective? I would say they're all equally effective. It's just a matter of finding the practitioner and see which one he or she are comfortable with. I love working with the feet. Excuse me, my throat is dry. There are some reflexologists that will do all three protocols. And which one do you choose? So let's say you have a headache. Chances are better that you're going to work on the ear reflexology. It's nothing like digging in somebody's ears. If I'm not digging in their ears, I'm digging in their feet. And once in a while, I'm holding their hands. So the hands are my least favorite because it's a fairly intimate protocol, because you got to really hold hands like this. As much as I love you, but I don't love you enough to hold your hand for 30 minutes. Sorry. But I will do it if I feel it's necessary. So hand reflexology addresses the heart, the chest, respiratory, all of that middle area. So I hope that's a good answer to your question. Excess heat. Okay. I work a little bit, Claudia, with the elements. There's the wood, the metal, water, air, and I would say heat is maybe associated with wood. When I work with people, especially new people for the first time, more times than not, their feet are very hot or their feet are very cold. So that tells me when it's very cold, there is a leakage of energy. So your energy is not being retained in your body. And if you're hot, you have too much heat. So in Chinese, in my dialect, that's called yet he, which means there's too much heat. And of course, what the way I was raised, we used to drink a lot of soups, medicine soups to help cool down the body because you want to bring the body to homeostasis. So a reflexology session um, has 55 steps. The foot reflexology protocol has 55 steps because we are addressing every single body system. And as you address every body system, everything is really being put back. Information is coming through the peripheral nerves, to the side nerves, up to the central nervous system, up the spine, up to the brain. And the brains go, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on down there? And unfortunately, if you've been on a lot of medicine over the years, your body gets lazy. It really is used to the medicine coming down and it's looking for that crutch, unfortunately. And then the body gets lazy. So I hope that answered that question. Have you seen the feet almost dance? Let's see. Have you seen the feet almost dance on the plantar signs when you touch the solar plexus? Like the nerves were dancing randomly. Does this make sense? 78-year-old complaining of vertigo. When you press on the solar plexus, I'm going to demonstrate where on the hands. It's the middle finger or the second finger. You're going to go down and then you'll feel a divot. It's the same in the foot. So you go down the second toe. See my Reflexology foot model? You can buy this on my website. You go all the way down the second toe until you feel a divot. It's right about there. That's at your diaphragm line. And if you work this area, what this does is release a lot of trapped energy, especially if you're a very nervous person or you have butterflies stuck there. This is where I tell clients to push along here, and this will start to relax. So you could go either direction, doesn't matter. And you're going to push. It's an indentation right there. And you're going to press. This is going to release a lot of energy. And somebody with vertigo, the ear reflex point on the hand is under the pinky finger and the third finger. So here, I'm going to see if I could turn myself around. And you're going to dig across. This here is also the shoulder. See, I don't want to make it too bright. And then I would do ear reflexology on them, which is really hard to do because I didn't bring my ear reflexology model. I have some in the basement in my house. So that I'm hoping that answers your question, especially if the person is not feeling well. Any other questions? I'm going to give you a chance. Okay. Will reflexology help plantar fasciitis? Will it help arthritis of the spine? The answer is yes. I have a video that I made on my channel that helps with plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis, I'm going to demonstrate on 1 feet. Your fascia, I hope this is not too bright. People have plantar fasciitis on the bottom of their feet, which is around here. What is the fascia? The fascia basically is used, okay, if you ever cook with raw chicken, you pull back the skin, you see that white film, that is the fascia. The fascia basically holds everything in place, holds your muscle, holds your flesh. So that's what that is. And what happens, how people get plantar fasciitis is the shortening and the lengthening of their feet. Let's say women have a tendency to wear high heels. So a lot of this action where you're going back and forth, you're lengthening and shortening the tendons and the ligaments in the feet. And what happens if you're really on high heels, what happens is eventually the ligaments get shorter and shorter. Unfortunately, not many of us know how to massage feet, and that's going to be key, is to get in and dig away. So digging away is usually from here to here. Can you see this area? Just the heel from here to here. But the fascia for most people begins right under the balls of your feet, and you work all the way down, and you're really focusing on this area. And the touch, you really have to know what you're doing and know what you're feeling, because it is not a light touch. I have made grown men cry when I open up their fascia on their feet. That's how painful it is, because what happens is it's all bunched up. And so much of plantar work could be preventable if we did some exercise every single day. All you have to do, um, if you have a tennis ball, golf ball, put your feet on the floor like this. And I wish I had a ball here. And you just roll. You got to roll against that ball as hard as you can tolerate. And if it makes you cry, then you know you're doing a job. And then after you're done, ice your feet, put it in bath water just to cool it down. So I think I answered all the questions. Arthritis of the spine, yes, it does, but that comes back to doing spine work, which is on the side of the foot. Your spine. Since this is the left foot, so this is the left spine. Your spine really ranges from here to all the way to the neck. So these are your T. This is all the way down the. Let's say this is the head, and then your T's. This is your L to the lumbar. This is the C, your coccyx over here. And slowly you got to really dig in with your finger up vertebrae by vertebrae. So I think that's it. I'm really tired, but I hope I answered your questions. And check out my book, Know Your Chakras. If you're really interested in how to break your pain cycle, this is an excellent book. This is 13,000 observations went into this book, and a lot of my heart and soul too. And I really want to help you to feel good. Let me know if you would like me to do another Ask the Reflexologist. And by demand, that's why I'm going to do it. And it's been a pleasure to spend this night with you. This is Helen Chin-Lu from the Healing Place and the Healing Place Energy School. I'm signing off. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.